everybody. Arizona Kid here. Hi. Don't know if you just saw my face or not, but man, I've already been out here a while working on some stuff on this Pioneer, mainly the heat shield. But we are today going to be changing the front diff fluid, which I don't know how good I'm gonna be able to film this, honestly. So down there, that's the drain plug, which looks like it has a hole. I was gonna take off the shield, and yeah, the front shield is a lot bigger. On the video for the rear one, I took that back shield off, not a big issue. This one looks like I don't want to take it off, so I don't think it's gonna go through this hole right here very well. I think it's gonna splatter everywhere and make a mess, but because according to the book, it says there's 22.5, I think, ounces in there. And each one of these is, what is it, eight, yeah, right there, 8 ounces. So 16, so 3 of them is 24. So I'm gonna be shy of finishing off one of these. I've also been having the fluid, I don't know if you guys can even see it. It's that black tube right there in front of you going up. Been having, that's a breather. I don't know if you can see it, how it goes on the top of the differential. Yeah, you can see it right there. The breather spews out fluid. And what's comical about that, I don't know why Honda made it this way. And I Googled it because I want to see why could it be, the breather could be doing that. I've taken this up north. It says it could be elevation or it could be over full. It never really gives a good answer for it, but this is that tube that comes up, and it has a thing that goes into this bar. And then I have all this electrical strapped to this bar. Well, I was touching it underneath, and there's a bracket right here. I can't show you, but there's a bracket right that holds a cable, and that cable was all oily, and there's oil even over here coming up out of this screw all the way up on top of here. And I cleaned it all off the best I could see. There's even some on my hand right there still from putting my hand underneath. So I'm like, why would they put it where the breather breathes into the bar and leaks all the oil into the bar? What kind of weird, I don't know, manufacturing thing was that from Honda? Why would you want the oil to go into the bar? And then I try to come over here because that bar comes across right here, but it's welded on. So maybe there's a better view underneath. So that's the cable right there. And see how it has that little clamp up there, my finger? That's got a hole into it. So it just drips out of there. So it drips into the bar and then drips out of the bar right there. And then was dripping back on top of the front differential, making you think, well, maybe my differential's leaking. Well, it's not leaking at all. It's just the breather tube spewing it out. Which they must have an issue with it, because I mean, I know they also do it for water because they don't want water to get into it, but that's pretty high to put a breather tube, you know, really high. I don't think the rear differential breather tube goes that high. Interesting, right? Anyways, I'm not really worried about that. Let's just change the fluid. If the fluid is over full, I'm going to take off the top cap first. That's going to kind of, one of the things they said that it was over full, and that's why it's coming out the top of the breather thing. But if it's been leaking that much already, maybe it's not that over full anymore. So like I said, I don't know how much of this. There's the fill one. So I want to take that one off first and see if it's over full. I don't really know how much of this I can have you guys really watch until I get it off, and then you can see it off and then see me drain it. But real quick, to take off the filler thing, it's a 17 millimeter, and then the drain one is a 10 millimeter. I think the wrench is going to suit me best for trying to get down into there. If I didn't have this winch on here or this skid plate, it'd probably be easier to do this. But hey, we're going to get it done anyways, because I'm too lazy to take anything off. So I'm gonna hit pause, get that thing off, and tell you if it was over full, and then we're gonna go from there. So guys, I have no freaking idea I just took that top cap off, and look how much fluid just came out of it. So yeah, my problem was this thing was over full. So that's why it was putting fluid up to the top. I don't know if you guys are seeing that. I'm glad I put that paper towel down. It kind of pushed it from that hole and went to the hole, and look at that, it's making a mess coming out underneath. I'm glad I put that pan underneath there as soon as I did. Yeah, so there you go. So that's why it was leaking fluid out of the breather hose. That's exactly what it said on the internet, on a Honda forum, that if someone had overfilled it, it would do that. So who the heck overfilled it other than the dealership when I took it to them last? And it would have been during maintenance or whatever, but wow. Because it still even had the marks on it, you know, like they put marks on it. I haven't touched it. So who the heck put that much fluid in there? I mean, that looks literally like, oh my gosh, let me run it over to the corner. That looks like almost a bottle, like almost 8 ounces over full. So no wonder it was going up the breather tube. Anyways, upsetting, guys. Check your fluid. I know I made that video and I didn't show it, but check your fluid. So if you remember, it's still draining fluid out right there. The fluid's supposed to be just right up to those threads inside of there. Yeah. So I'm still gonna change it just because I want to change it, and then I know I did it at my 2-year mark. So I'm gonna let that still drain out a little bit and then get the drain plug out and go from there. But that explains my breather hose pumping out oil to the top. It was over full. I keep trying to grab the camera real quick. It is draining out. Can we see it in there? Yeah, you can see it. Come on, focus. Yeah, you can see it coming out. It actually comes out pretty good out of that hole. Remember how I said I thought it was just gonna go everywhere? It wouldn't have made such a mess if it wasn't for it being over full. You guys are probably going, well, why didn't you drain it first before taking that top cap off? If I would have did that, guys, unless I would have measured the fluid that came out, I know it made more of a mess for me to clean up. I would have never known it was over full. So that's the reason I decided to take that big hole cap off first, because I knew if it came pouring out of that, it was way over full, and before I took the little drain plug out. So it would have saved me a big cleanup. I 100% agree. I wouldn't have had to do a big cleanup I'm gonna have to do now. At least I got some brake cleaner I bought yesterday, so I'm gonna wipe it the best I can and then spray it with a lot of brake cleaner. But it was just made me feel better to know that the reason it was coming out of the top breather tube is because it was over full. And I mean, I'll keep an eye on that and see if it does it again, because they did say there was one other reason it could be. I think it had to do something with the mechanisms inside not opening and closing correctly or something like that. You know what? Look, it's going down there anyways onto the plate. So look at that. It doesn't drain out perfect anyhow. It would have made a little bit of a mess anyhow. So anyhow, I'm gonna let it drain. Get the well, that'll be the fill. Get the drain plug back in. The crush washer looks pretty good. I know a lot of people go, oh, you need a crush washer. I use them like, I'll be honest, like a dozen times before I replace the crush washer, as long as it doesn't look bad. Sometimes they'll look too flat. I mean, I've had that happen with copper ones, but I've never had it happen with these, like, I don't know if it's aluminum or what this one is, but the copper ones, I usually see them get destroyed a lot quicker when it's a copper crush washer. Alrighty, once again, like I said, I'm gonna get the fluid, or not get the fluid, get this drain plug back in, let it keep draining, clean it up, and when I get to the part where I'm gonna put the fluid in, I'll show you guys what's going on with that. So I'll be right back. All right, guys, this is really hard to do, so I'm holding it, putting fluid in there. I do have that tip on it. I will say this, guys. Can you see it going in there? I think you can. Slow and steady wins the race. This is the second bottle. Got one more to do. So like I said, slow and steady wins the race, all right? All right, guys, got that cover back on. I didn't torque it down yet. Big mess in there. I've been working on it with paper towel. Here's the mess. This is the bag full of dirty paper towel. I mean, wow. So look at the 3 bottles, 1, 2, 3. I'm glad I had an extra one, because if you squeeze that too hard, and I got a tip where I can squeeze it, because that is a very straight in angle, and you have to do a little bit of squeeze. If you squeeze too hard, the fluid just pushes back out. So I ended up using or spilling a bunch more and didn't have enough to top it off, which I was grateful I had a 4th bottle. I don't know if you guys will make the same mistakes I do, but if you do, you might want to keep an extra one on hand. And I haven't sprayed it. Yeah, I'm gonna tighten that down and then pull it out and spray it with a brake cleaner, but I don't want to do that on my carport, because all the stuff's gonna go to the ground. I'm gonna go out into the rocks and do it. But I also wanted to look at the fluid before I threw it out, which that's way too much fluid that was in there. That's just unbelievable. But I wanted to look at the color in it. It doesn't look black like the rear differential did. It did have some flakes down in there. I don't think I'm that worried about it. We'll see when the next one comes if it has flakes like that. But this one seemed, I mean, it's a little bit dingy colored, but it's just not really. It looks pretty clean, brand new fluid in there. Compared to the back one, if you watch that video, it was black. So front didn't look that bad. But once again, it was 2 years. I'm glad I did it, especially because, like I showed you, I was getting oil coming up the breather tube up on top. It's because some numb nut overfilled it. And I would say, I bet you if I poured this stuff out and put it back in those, I bet you that's got to be like 5 or 6 containers. And it was 5, then that's probably like 40 ounces, almost probably like twice the amount that should be in there was put in there. Come on, dealerships, pay attention to what you're doing. And I don't know, maybe it wasn't even the dealership, maybe it was Honda the manufacturer. I just find that hard to believe. I almost wonder if they were doing it to see if, because what'll happen is your rear seals and side seals will start to bust and leak because that's too much fluid up top. I wonder if they were almost doing it to see if I would come in and give them more work, because when I got this machine and they did the last checkup on it, that was back when, you know, COVID was going on and shit was hitting the fan. I don't want to accuse them of that, but I used to work at a dealership, and there's some technicians that'll do shady stuff to get more work. So anyways, guys, keep the powder dry. God bless. This is how you would change it. Once again, I probably didn't get into all that, but make sure you use the right fluid. It takes 24.5 or something like that ounces. You'll need at least 3 of these. Like I said, I'm glad I had 4 just in case, unless you don't make the mistake I did by squeezing the bottle too hard to get it in there. Oh, it says on there what it is. It's final shaft drive oil, hypoid gear oil, 80/90 on there. But yeah, that's about it, guys. See you on the next one. Thanks for watching.